This past week, much like most of my weeks of ministry here, I had the opportunity to chat with at least 4 people that I can remember about their faith, their relationship with Jesus Christ, their relationship with the Catholic Church, and their struggle to go deeper in that relationship. Now, in 2 of those 4 conversations, I was the one who was an obstacle to them going deeper. It was either something that I said or something that I did that is standing in their way to continue on their journey of faith. In one of the 4 conversations, so we're not looking at 3 of the 4, in one of the 4 conversations, it was another priest who was somehow in the way of someone going deeper in their relationship with the church and their relationship with Jesus Christ. I share this with you because I don't know of a better way to introduce and to make real the powerful story that we just heard in the gospel. Think back what you heard. Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. We know this comes at the very end of Jesus' 3 years of preaching and healing and teaching. This is it. This is the final moment. He's about a day's journey from Jerusalem. He's going to Jerusalem, and he knows that when he gets there, he's going to suffer and die. This is the end of the story. Jericho, where he probably spent the night, was one of the wealthiest towns in the area. So surrounding Jericho and the roads would have often been many beggars, hoping that the wealthy travelers and merchants would have a few coins to throw to them. And as Jesus is approaching Jerusalem, he brings with him all of his disciples, the large crowd of people who have left everything and followed him these last 3 years. This is the crowd surrounding him, his entourage, if you will. And as they go along the way, this blind man named Bartimaeus, notice, by the way, rarely do we hear someone in a parable or a story in the Gospels, rarely do they have a name. That means that this person later becomes very significant, a very significant disciple, probably a minister in the early church. Bartimaeus is used to sitting there begging for coins because he was blind. And blindness in all of Scripture often is more than just blindness of the eyes, but it's also commenting on faith, commenting on someone's relationship with God. And so he cries out. As soon as he hears this Jesus, no longer does he want money. Now he's saying, have pity on me. Have mercy on me. I want you to hear me. And what happens? Who is it that's telling him to be quiet? Who are the people in this small journey, in this brief day's walk, who are the people around Jesus telling the blind man, Bartimaeus, be quiet. He's not interested in you. Don't say anything. The Lord's more important than your troubles. It's the disciples gathered around Jesus. It's the apostles closest to Jesus. It's that crowd who he's been traveling with. They actively are saying to him, no, your problems, your issues, your sorrow and suffering, it's not important enough. They were the ones closest to Jesus who were getting in the way of Bartimaeus crying out for pity, for mercy. And finally, Bartimaeus' insistence and persistence, his voice rises above everyone telling him to be quiet. And Jesus hears him. And as a way to rebuke and to criticize those around him who were telling Bartimaeus to be quiet, Jesus says, call him. Notice, Jesus doesn't call him. He doesn't look above the crowd and say, oh, Bartimaeus, come here. He turns to the people around him who he knows were the ones who were just telling him to be quiet, Bartimaeus to be quiet. He says to the same ones, go call him. I want to hear what he has to ask of me. And so they do. They change their tune just like that. Oh, get up, they say, Bartimaeus. The Lord wants to see you. Take heart. Have joy. The Lord is interested in what you're saying. And as soon as Bartimaeus is able to talk to Jesus, Jesus says, what do you want to ask of me? Lord, he says, I want to see. And again, that idea of sight certainly is about the physical ability to see, but it's deeper than that. Lord, I want faith. I want to see. I want to know you. I want to grow deeper in my relationship with you. Have mercy on me. And again, to rebuke those around him, Jesus says, go. Your faith has saved you. Your faith. The faith that you had, the faith that others were trying to keep quiet, the faith that my apostles and disciples were trying to stifle, were trying to silence, were trying to marginalize. Your faith has saved you. Go your way, you are healed. And notice what happens. As soon as Bartimaeus is healed, Jesus gave him permission to go his way, to return to his life, to begin a new chapter in his life. And instead of leaving, what does Bartimaeus do? He immediately begins to follow Jesus. The last line of the gospel says, he joins Jesus on the way. He joins Jesus as Jesus is taking that final day's journey to Jerusalem. The faith that he was asking for, the vision that he longed for, brought him into that deeper relationship. And as a constant reminder to those around Jesus, his presence, his discipleship, and later his ministry becomes a reminder that it's never acceptable that we, the disciples and ministers of our Christian faith, can never get in the way of those who feel marginalized, who are longing for the Lord, who are thirsty for deeper faith. Our ministry, our faith can never, ever find any acceptable reason to get in the way of another who longs to go deeper in a relationship with Jesus. Our first reading, God says, I will gather all of my chosen people to me. I will gather the nation of Israel. I will gather my beloved children to me from this earth. Those who are far from me because of sorrow. Those who are far from me because of brokenness. Those who are far from me because of their bondage. Whatever it is that has taken them from me, I will draw them to myself. In our second reading, the idea that the ministry in our Christian faith, the letter to the Hebrews talks about the role of the high priest. We are all priests by our baptism. We share in that priesthood as priest, prophet, and king. And so we know we're not perfect. And so we have to pray for mercy, but likewise we have to pray so that our ministry can reach out to others who long for mercy, others who long to grow closer to Jesus. But never, this gospel passage demands of us, never can our words, our actions, our faith get in the way of others. But rather, we have to have the faith of Bartimaeus and the understanding of Jesus that does not get in the way of others. And so I want to make this offer to you, rather this request. I know there are times when I have gotten in the way. I know that there are times when our ministry may have gotten in the way, because thankfully we have some students and some community members who are courageous enough to tell me about it. And so just this week on our website, there is a brand new link, portal, call it whatever you want. If you click on videos, Elon CCM, videos, that's where my weekly homily is posted. Underneath the picture box, you can tell technological settings, there's a link. Click on the link. A new page opens, and there's a simple form where you can type in any comments, critique, feedback, or anything that you'd like to share. Because the idea that having read with, prayed with, listened to those people who spoke to me this week, the idea that somehow I would continue to turn a deaf ear, we would continue to not try to grow, would be unconscionable. And so I know that sometimes giving feedback is difficult. There it is. Please. It's anonymous. There's no link, there's no email attached to it, there's no contact information necessary. It's a blank box, completely anonymous. If there's something that I can learn, if there's a way that our ministry can grow, and better still, invite those who are on the margins, who, because of their sorrow, their tears, their burdens, or whatever ails them, are longing to grow closer, and we are not yet helping them. Look around. How many Catholics are on this campus, but they're not here? At some point, we have to take responsibility for this, and so I'm asking for whatever feedback you may have, you can offer it anonymously. Because I deeply believe that the point of our gospel message today is that we need to learn as disciples and ministers of Christ, me most of all, that our ministry can never get in the way of others, and that ultimately Jesus' call to everyone here is the same as it was to Bartimaeus. Please, come to me, call him, beckon them to come to me, because their faith, their desire, their longing, their deepest wish to see, to go deeper. This is the point of our ministry. It's their faith that guides us. It's your wisdom that helps us, helps me be a better disciple of Jesus.